This episode is brought to you by DistroKid.
Do you love catching the latest blockbusters, but you're looking to save some cash? Well, Regal Cinemas has you covered. Introducing the Regal Crown Club, a totally free loyalty program designed to give you more bang for your buck every time you visit the theater. As a Regal Crown Club member, you can rack up points and redeem them for awesome perks such as concession upgrades, movie tickets, and exclusive prizes. Plus, points can be used to shop for merch, score free downloads, and enter sweepstakes in the Regal Rewards Center. But the deals don't stop there. On Mondays, get 25% off all candy, and on Tuesdays, enjoy 50% off popcorn along with discounted movie tickets, as low as $5 with Regal Value Days. Oh, and did I mention they give you a free popcorn every year on your birthday just for being a member? How cool is that? Crown Club also tracks every time you buy a ticket, and after just 6 visits, you'll earn free bonus extra credits. So why wait? Download the Regal app today and get started with your free Crown Club membership. Regal Crown Club, your ticket to unbeatable movie deals.
Hey everybody, Chris DeMakes, a podcast producer, Chris Fafalios here. It's Throwback Thursday once again, and this time it's actually Throwback Thanksgiving Thursday. I figured a lot of you were having a leisurely morning, or maybe you're on your way to your turkey bowl, and I'm sure some of you are preparing a big old meal. So I thought I'd re-release this fun episode about being thankful for you to listen to today. We're not even throwing it back that far this week. We're only going back to June 10th of this year when Chris and I did an episode all about the late Andrew Gould's Thank You for Being a Friend. It just seemed appropriate, as Chris and I are very thankful for all of you who listen to the show and allow us to continue making it. Plus, I just think this episode turned out so fun, and I hope that it helps strengthen your appreciation for the song that would become the soundtrack of Dorothy, Blanche, Rose, and Sophia. Oh, and hey, we just launched our Patreon, which you can join by heading to chrisdemakes.com. You'll get weekly episodes of the After Party podcast, a back catalog of hundreds of episodes of the After Party, unedited video versions of Chris DeMakes, a podcast and the After Party, and early ad-free releases of new episodes. Plus, as you probably already know, your support allows us to continue making this show. So thank you so much to everyone who has already joined, or even if you're just thinking about joining. Okay, I'll let you get to it here. From June 10th of 2024, this is Chris and I discussing Andrew Gould's 1978 single, Thank You for Being a Friend.
Thank you for being a friend.
Hey everyone, for today's episode, Chris Fafalios and I will be breaking down the writing, recording, and lyrical interpretation of a song from an artist who is no longer with us. That artist being lead vocalist and multi-instrumentalist Andrew Gould, and the single, Thank You for Being a Friend, taken from his 1978 album, All This and Heaven Too. Andrew was a renowned session player, and by the early 70s was working full-time as a musician, songwriter, and producer. His first big break came in 1974, while working on Heart Like a Wheel with Linda Ronstadt. Thank You for Being a Friend was a modest hit upon release in 1978, but it was a 40-second abbreviated version, recorded later by Cynthia Fee, and used as the theme song for the hit TV show The Golden Girls, that made the tune a household hit. The song is beyond catchy, and the musicianship is top-notch. After all, Andrew was joined on the track by Toto's Jeff Porcaro on drums and another world-renowned session player, Waddy Wachtel, on guitar. So sit back while we all take a masterclass in songwriting. And hey, thank you for being a friend.
Hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast. Hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast. Hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast. Hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast.
Well, Chris, we've talked about the session musician before, and a lot of times these guys don't get credited. You know, they're behind the scenes and, you know, the producer doesn't want you to know they brought in a hotshot lead guitarist. And some of these guys are in well-known bands. Steve Lukather from Toto. And I don't even know if you know this, but speaking of Toto, Jeff Porcaro, the drummer for Toto, Chris, he played drums on this track, Thank You for Being a Friend.
Really?
Yes, he did.
How did I not come across that in looking up stuff about this? That's crazy. That's not who's playing drums in the music video. video.
No, I don't think so. No. And then Waddy Wachtel is a very famous session guitar player for Linda Ronstadt, Stevie Nicks, Kim Carnes, John Bon Jovi, James Taylor, etc., etc. And the Linda Ronstadt connection comes through with Andrew Gold because Andrew worked on a bunch of Linda Ronstadt records back in the day, and we'll get to all those connections. But Andrew Gold wasn't a household name. He was kind of a session guy that had this song that ended up being the theme for Golden Girls.
Yeah,
and not only that, but the man, just his credentials, and we're gonna go through them here. But I love the session musician. I've talked to a lot of guys about this. I've ran across, and they've great players, drummers. I can think of 5 or 6 people that pop in my mind off the top of my head. Guys that are phenomenal, could run circles around me as a musician. But we're like, Chris, my band just can't get signed. We can't make it. And I'm like, man, you just need to start playing on some records.
Right.
You could be that guy. You could have a career in music. You might not be the person on the stage, but yeah, man, I was really fascinated when I started looking at Andrew Gold's career. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, from the very start, it was like this guy was born to be a music, I'm not going to say genius, but I think the dude is incredible. He was born in 1951 in Burbank. His mother, I thought this was really crazy. His mother was singer Marnie Nixon, who provided the singing voice for actresses who couldn't really sing, like Natalie Wood in West Side Story, Deborah Kerr in The King and I, and Audrey Hepburn in My Fair Lady. That was Andrew Gold's mother actually singing those parts.
Sleep, sleep, I couldn't sleep tonight, not for all the jewels in the crown. I could have danced all night, I could have danced all night, and still have begged for more.
And then his dad was Ernest Gold, who was an Austrian-born composer who won an Academy Award for his score to the movie Exodus. You were born to a musical family, Chris. Andrew Gold, to almost to another level of being born from a musical family with this background,
Yeah, it's definitely in the bloodline for sure. And it's amazing that, think about what happened to Milli Vanilli, and here his mom was singing for all these huge actresses that, back in the day, I'm sure nobody was none the wiser.
No, I'm sure most people thought that was them singing that. Unless they stuck around, I don't know. I don't know if they were ghost singing appearances or if they were probably in the credits, I'm sure. But then Andrew, at age 13, began writing songs. I can't imagine what my songs would be like at age 13, Chris.
Well, I was writing songs earlier than that, very primitive stuff. I always wonder, maybe he was writing earlier than that. It sounds like probably his compositions at 13, I could almost bet were light years ahead of what I was writing at 13.
Yeah.
I guess he did that in high school in the UK for 1 year, Chris, and he scored his first recording contract at 16 years old. Kind of reminds me of the story of Eve Six when they got signed right out of high school. I can't even imagine at that age being signed so young. I got signed on the strength of a selection of demos he submitted to Polydor Records' London office. Could you imagine being able to walk into a record label, hey, I'm a 6-year-old kid, here's my stuff, and actually have someone pay attention to it?
Yeah, and you know why they paid attention to it, Chris? I don't know if you listened to the single that he released.
I did.
With his friend and collaborator, Charlie Villiers. They released a song called Of All the Little Girls that came out in 1967 under the name Villiers and Gold. And it's a good song.
All my friends were taken in by what you do. I don't think I want to play anymore. I don't think I want to play anymore.
It's really good.
It really is, and it really captures that time period of the late 60s. The song is really good. By the early 70s, talk about working in the business. Again, not a star, but he's working for sure as a full-time musician, songwriter, and producer. He was a member of the LA band Brindle, who released the single Woke Up This Morning. Do you remember that song? Because I do.
You know, it sounded vaguely familiar, and I listened to it, and once again, I'm like, this song is good. This is a really good song.
I know everybody's laughing, and you're laughing today, like you never could have yesterday. All my friends are coming around, and things are looking up here in the country. I know we will see that day we're waiting for.
It's pretty good. It's got that 70s AM radio vibe, complete with super loud strings. And I when I was going through the comments on YouTube, it made me laugh, Chris, because somebody said, reminds me of driving in the back of my grandfather's car as a kid. And that's when I heard it in the 70s. It was I don't know if it was necessarily a hit, but I remember the song. It was definitely played.
As I get older and older, Chris, I'm realizing I think I really like 70s AM Gold. Like, I mean, Andrew Gold, I think he fits in there, you know, his songs. I really like this style of music.
I think the next Punchline record has to be Yacht Rock. I'm gonna be championing that forever.
I love Yacht Rock.
Andrew played a major role. Talked about this a second ago as a multi-instrumentalist and arranger for Linda Ronstadt's breakthrough album, 1974's "Heart Like a Wheel," which he played the majority of instruments on her song "You're No Good."
Yeah.
You're no good, you're no good, you're no good, baby, you're no good. I'm gonna say it again. You're no good, you're no good, you're no good, baby, you're no good.
Which 3 years later, to show you how weird the 70s was, 3 years later, Van Halen covered that 4 years later for their second album, Van Halen 2, and it was the lead-off track on the record. It was so strange.
Wow.
But Andrew played on that, and that was Ronstadt's only #1 single on the Billboard 100, and he was in her band from 73 until 77, and then, I didn't know this, sporadically throughout the 80s and 90s, performing at some of her concerts. Of course, Thank You for Being a Friend was recorded in 1978. His first album, I guess, Chris, was recorded in 75. Also that year, he played instruments on Art Garfunkel's solo hit, I Only Have Eyes for You. So, I mean, this guy was busy.
Yeah. Do you know that Art Garfunkel version of I Only Have Eyes for You?
I don't.
Oh, dude.
I don't.
Dude, I don't know how I stumbled across that at some point. I mean, that's a great song to begin with, you know, the 50s classic. But Art Garfunkel singing it, I mean, the dude's got an amazing voice. I really like his version of that. And then I saw he played on that. I was like, whoa, this dude played on everything.
'Cause I only have eyes for you.
Yeah, well, his second record, What's Wrong with This Picture, was released in 1976 and featured the hit single Lonely Boy, another song that I remember. Do you remember this one?
I did not remember this song. Lonely Boy was actually his highest charting song. This song went to #7 on the Billboard Hot 100 in June of 1977. I watched the music video for it, and then I instantly sent it to my group chat of all my bandmates. I was like, check this song out. This is amazing. And because I knew that it would be up their alley. So yeah, I love it. I love it.
School, it'll teach him how to fight to be nobody's fool. Oh, what a lonely boy. Oh, what a lonely boy. Oh, what a lonely boy.
The thing I noticed about the video, it's very similar to the video they made for Thank You for Being a Friend. They're all just kind of crowded around jamming live in a room. And this song has a kind of Oh What a Night feeling to it. The way the piano is kind of staccato and jumbling. I do remember this song. I had no idea, of course, it was him. And it's funny, if I went through obscure songs from the 70s, I haven't done that for this show. I probably know more than I think I do.
Yeah.
Again, from sitting in the back of my grandfather's Cadillac. Thank You for Being a Friend was from Gold's third album, All This in Heaven Too. And you just said it, Chris. His biggest song technically was Lonely Boy,
right.
Biggest charting song, but Thank You for Being a Friend, of course, eclipsed everything in his career when it was later recorded by a woman named Cynthia Fee. And you wonder, like, how did she end up recording that, getting that?
I've always noticed this because, hey, I grew up loving the Golden Girls. I still love the Golden Girls. That's like a widely known fact about me. It's funny. I still think it's funny to this day. Even though it's got the laugh track, it's pretty dated. I think for a show like that, it's the best. I love the Golden Girls. But I think Cynthia Fee's voice is just so amazing. The way she sings it for that theme song is incredible in the truncated version. I mean, it's the 30-second version of this way longer song.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend.
The song's 40 seconds. You only get the first stanza of verse 1. It goes straight to the pre-chorus, and then you just get one, thank you for being a friend, and then you get another bar of that super loud synth hook, which in the Golden Girls is louder than the synth hook in the original song, which is funny to me because that synth hook, besides thank you for being a friend, I mean, that tagline and that synth hook, that's what you remember from the Golden Girls theme.
Yeah, it is. And it sounds orchestral. It sounds like an orchestra playing that, but that's synth, right?
Well, yeah. So on here, I believe it's synth. I don't think it's an orchestra because Andrew is credited as playing the synth. And
oh, okay.
It sounds like synth strings from the 70s. I could be wrong, but that's what I think here. When we get into the song, we'll talk about that. I mentioned that Jeff Beccaro from Toto played drums on this, and Waddy Wachtel was the session guitarist for this. And Kenny Edwards played bass. He was also in Brindle with Andrew Ford and also played with Linda Ronstadt. So talk about connecting the dots. You know, I love that. I love going back, and a lot of these guys, especially back then, it was a pretty tight-knit community. It's like, okay, we need an R&B bass player. You had 5 guys you were going to call immediately. Okay, this guy's busy. You're calling the next one. And Gold also toured with the Eagles, worked in the studio and toured with Ronstadt and Jackson Browne, which, again, Linda Ronstadt, the Eagles, that whole time period, they were all working together, working with the same producers. I guess he recorded and toured with James Taylor and was the second engineer on part of Joni Mitchell's album Blue. Again, all huge stuff. In 81, Gold produced, co-wrote, sang, and played on 3 10cc tracks. Were you familiar with that band at all, Chris?
Someone brought 10cc up to me recently. I think it was on One Hit Thunder, and I was like, I don't know who this is. And then I went and listened to the songs. I'm like, oh yeah, of course I know these songs. They were just like a faceless, nameless band that had these songs that I obviously knew that most people know if you were alive in the 80s.
I guess in 83, after 10cc broke up, in the aftermath, Andrew Gold and Graham Goldman formed Wax, not to be confused with the punk rock Wax that came years later. Wax recorded and toured for 5 years, and they had several hits in the UK. Gold played on Cher's 1989 hit album Heart of Stone, which had the huge hit If I Could Turn Back Time. I mean, this guy just didn't stop, Chris.
No, this is an impressive resume.
Absolutely. He co-wrote the #1 single, I Saw the Light, with Winona Judd, and produced singles for Vince Gill and wrote and produced tracks for Celine Dion. In the 90s, Brindle got back together to release their first full-length album. In 96, Gold left Brindle and released the children's Halloween-oriented novelty album, Halloween Howls. One song from this album, Spooky Scary Skeletons, regained popularity from the 2010s onwards as an internet meme.
We're so sorry, skeletons, you're so misunderstood. You only want to socialize,
But I don't think we should.
'cause spooky, scary skeletons shout startling, shrilly screams. They'll sneak from their sarcophagus.
And sadly, Chris, we lost Andrew to kidney cancer in 2011 at the age of 59.
Which is why we have to do this episode, you and I, today, Chris. This would have been a dream guest for me. I love this song so much. I know that I'm not speaking hyperbolic here. This is one of my favorite songs ever. Like, this song makes me so happy. I think it's such an interesting song from so many aspects. I love every piece of this song, and I'm excited to get into it with you.
I am too, and I'm really glad that you brought it up. Andrew Gold wouldn't have been, on one of my lists to maybe, an artist that's no longer with us, only because, again, he's just wasn't a household name. But what a cool career, and how awesome is it? And I tell younger bands, and even us, my band or your band, you never know, especially with TikTok and Reels and all this stuff, what's going to ignite, what's going to happen for you. In his case, his song, which was a modest hit, 1978, ended up being known for Golden Girls, and he was collecting royalties for the rest of his life. Pretty cool. The song's 4 minutes and 41 seconds. It was track 6 out of 10 on the record. The intro is just 2 bars of piano and the vocal.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down a road and back again. Your heart is true, you're a pal and a confidant. I'm not ashamed to say, I hope it always will stay this way. My hat is off, won't you stand up and take a bow?
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down a road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. I'm not ashamed to say, I hope it always will stay this way. My hat is off. Won't you stand up and take a bow?
So nice. Such nice lyrics.
It is, and it's borderline, and I looked up this word, and the word isn't really right. I was going to say it's borderline schmaltzy with the lyrics, like ballady. The only synonym for schmaltzy that I thought it was sappy. This is a little sappy. I don't think it's cheesy. I think it's heartfelt. And I don't know, who can't relate? Like you said, it's feel good.
But also, don't you think it's a little bit tongue in cheek? Don't you think he knows what he's doing, like going over the top with this song in its sentimentality? And the reason I say that is for 2 reasons. One, if you haven't seen the music video for this, I would almost pause this episode and watch the music video. And how joyful. It's just him and a band playing in like a white room. And it is just it's such an uplifting and happy video watching people play music. And the second part that makes me say that, Chris, thinking this is tongue in cheek, and we'll get to there, but the bridge is so dramatic in this song. And even in the music video, there's like wind blowing through his hair. It's like he's in heaven or something. And I just think he's being funny. I think it's half sincere and half funny. I really do.
Interesting. I didn't really take that away. You know, he's probably 26 or 27 years old, but in the suit with the beard, he looks 40. That time period everybody did in the 70s. They looked older. Kind of gives me the Huey Lewis vibe. The every guy, the guy down the street that he's sitting at his piano, he's gonna play us a song. Just seems like a regular Joe. We get a hi-hat, little tst, on Your Heart Is True, and the hi-hat is in there, and on the back half of verse 1. one. We get the kick drum and the hi-hat and bass guitar and another piano playing some lower notes that come in.
There's a couple things about this first verse. I think this song nonstop builds, like till the very end. I've never analyzed the song before that I think builds and builds and builds more perfectly than this song. Things are always changing. It's always exciting and new. I like how stripped down this beginning is, how there's just a kick drum that comes in after a few lines. There's just that steady kick drum. And then also, Chris, as a bassist, I got to talk a little bit about the bass lines in this song that are absolutely perfect, kind of outlining and highlighting what's being played on piano and the melodies. It's so good. It's so tasteful and perfect in this first verse.
Absolutely. And that bass, we're going to get to it in a little bit. There's a 4-bar musical hook after chorus 1, and that's really when that bass it grabs you all the way through here. But great point about the song building, because it just does. Not one chorus in the song, chorus 1, 2, or 3 are the same.
No.
They're all different, okay? But they all retain the same quality of being a chorus. It doesn't sound disjointed, because I've heard songs like that. It's like, okay, they've just thrown too much in here. It doesn't even resemble chorus 1 anymore.
Right.
But this song definitely does.
And Chris, in Chris DeMakes a Podcast episodes, you're always talking about these hooks within the song. And this one has a lot of them, but there's one I wanted to see if you were going to mention that I think is a major hook. It's going from the verse into the pre-chorus, that snare fill that goes to the syncopated dun, dun, dun. I think that's one of the major hooks of the song.
You got it. And that's right. Absolutely. That's right after Take a Bow that happens. And that fill, the drums and a clean arpeggiated guitar, they're alternating between picking and strumming there. And yes, that is a hook in this tune. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
It's almost like I've used this term before. It's like a reset. It's like, okay, we're not in verse 1 anymore.
Yeah.
We've moved on. This is something different. Yeah, and it's very, very theme songish.
Sure.
It's triumphant in just that small little exchange there of that drum fill.
And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, well, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say thank you for being a friend.
And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, well, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say. I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe these are supposed to be tongue-in-cheek because they're so literal.
Dude, I love those lyrics. It paints such a vivid picture in your head of carrying in this big present, And I think he's being funny. I really do. I think he's being sincere and funny at the same time. I think Weird Al would appreciate this song, as much as Billy Joel would. Hey, everybody, we'll be right back after a few words from our sponsors.
Looking to elevate your music career? DistroKid is a digital music distribution service that enables musicians to distribute their music to online stores and streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Amazon, Tidal, and many more. DistroKid collects earnings and payments, sending them to you, the artist. With DistroKid, artists unlock a world of possibilities. From easily paying collaborators with splits to securing your music with DistroLock, DistroKid covers all bases. Plus, you can promote your releases with Hyperfollow and create eye-catching visuals with a Spotify Canvas generator, all for free. But that's not all. Introducing the DistroKid app, now available on iOS and Android. Artists can manage their releases, view streaming stats, and withdraw earnings, all from the palm of their hand. And for those looking to perfect their sound, check out Mixia. With its simple interface and customizable mastering options, artists can make their music sound polished and professional within minutes. And don't forget about Instant Share, DistroKid's newest feature. Share large files securely with collaborators, producers, and more, ensuring your music streams at the highest quality. Ready to take your music to the next level? Download the DistroKid app and explore their suite of tools today. Plus, listeners can enjoy 30% off their first year by visiting distrokid.com/VIP/DeMakes. That's distrokid.com/VIP/DeMakes.
With Amex Platinum, you can really be in the now. Access to Resi Priority Notify. Yes! 4 p.m. checkout with fine hotels and resorts booked through Amex Travel.
We needed this.
And dedicated card member entrances at select events.
Let's go!
Means you can focus on the present moment. That's the powerful backing of American Express. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/withAmex. Card member entrance access not limited to Amex Platinum Card.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
This is the sound of your ride home with Dad after he caught you vaping. Awkward, isn't it? Most vapes contain seriously addictive levels of nicotine and disappointment. Know the real cost of vapes. Brought to you by the FDA.
How about listening to the sounds of Istanbul? Beautiful, isn't it? But you can't discover the coolest city in the world just by listening. Check istanbul.goturkiye.com now and plan your Istanbul trip today.
Time to move? Skip the hassles of selling during the holiday season and sell your home directly to Opendoor. Request an all-cash offer in minutes, close, and get paid in days. You can even pick your close date so you can move after New Year's. Start your move at opendoor.com or download the Opendoor app. Opendoor is represented by Opendoor Brokerage Inc., license 02061130 in California, and Opendoor Brokerage LLC in its other markets. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Etsy.
Oh.
Hear that?
Okay. Thank you.
Etsy knows these aren't the sounds of holiday gifting. Well, not the ones you're hoping for. You want squeals of delight. Happy tears.
How did you?
And spontaneously written songs of joy.
I am so happy. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, the song needs a bit of work, but anyway, to get those reactions, make sure everyone on your list feels heard with handmade, handpicked, and designed gifts from small shops on Etsy. Gifts like personalized jewelry, custom artwork, cozy style items, vintage pieces, and home decor to celebrate all of your favorite people and their specific kind of special. For original gifts that say, I get you, Etsy has it.
Behind the delivery trucks that keep your life stocked, thousands of employees at BP go to work every day. People bringing a new offshore production platform online. People making our refineries capable of more, like making renewable diesel from agricultural waste. People trading and shipping fuels to our customers. And people helping truckers fill up and get maintenance at our convenient locations. They're part of the more than 300,000 jobs BP supports across the country. Learn more at bp.com/investing in America.
Looking for a pickup truck to get just about anything done? Look no further. The Chevy Silverado EV isn't just the most powerful Silverado ever, with next-level towing capability and technology. It also offers game-changing versatility with the available multi-flex midgate and tailgate, which means Silverado EV helps you carry large, bulky, and oddly shaped items up to nearly 11 feet in length. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Visit Chevrolet.com to learn more.
Way to eat a tea. You're listening to an ad for PC Game Pass. Want new games on day one like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle? How about living out your Sims life with EA Play? We're talking high-quality PC games all for one low monthly price. We got you. Learn more at xbox.com/PC Game Pass or click the banner. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle available December 9th, 2024. Game catalog varies by region and over time. Okay, that's the ad. You can go back to doing whatever you were doing now.
Hey friends, have you been loving Chris DeMakes a podcast? Well, spread the love by leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't hesitate to share what you enjoy about the show in an actual written review on Apple Podcasts. Not only does it help more people discover us, but we often read reviews in the wrap segment of the show. It's a quick, cost-free way to support us and takes just a minute of your time. Your reviews mean the world to us and help us keep the podcast thriving. Thank you for being a listener, and thank you for being a friend.
And now, back to the show.
Well, I love where we're headed into chorus one, and just so far, Chris, we haven't had one harmony yet.
Nope.
Okay, it's just been a single vocal. But I love what happens here. The chorus vocal starts one bar before the downbeat of the band. The chorus vocal, "Thank you for being a friend," technically starts still in the pre-chorus. We get a tambourine that comes here accenting the snare. It's nice and loud. The drums switch to kind of a Motown flavored swing, and the clean guitar is playing these cool upstroke like a chirp. Such a great tone, and it's just the lyric. "Thank you for being a friend," 4 times that make up chorus one.
Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend.
You don't need to say much more than that. You started off the song by saying, "Thank you for being a friend." And then now you're in the chorus. So I almost feel like the top of the song, it's a verse, but I feel like it's a chorus too, because you're getting the hook.
It's foreshadowing.
Yeah.
He foreshadowed the chorus. This dude is such a great songwriter. He foreshadowed the chorus in the first line, gave you all this information, such a good story leading in to the chorus. And now, like you said, the chorus is like, it's the end of the pre-chorus. It's just a continuation of the end of the pre-chorus. I think it's like flawless songwriting.
I do too. I absolutely love it. And I had to really think here at the top when I was, really starting to break this down, Chris, and say, hey, is this start with the chorus or is this the verse? And it is the verse, but you get that chorus hook. It's so cool. Out of chorus one, talked about this a little bit ago. We get a 4-bar musical hook, I'm calling it. It's just after the chorus, it's the bass and the synth. They are locked together here, man. And that bass, the tone of it is deadly. Kenny Edwards is credited as playing the bass track. Looks like there's the Ampeg there in the room with them. And just, you can't go wrong. It's 45, 46 years removed, and it still sounds like a monster.
Yeah, I don't know if the guys in the music video who actually played on. I'm thinking maybe they weren't, based off of you reading some of these names, unless I just don't know what the guys look like. But whoever's playing bass in the video, he's so happy to be playing bass. I just love it. And that part, I didn't know what to call that part. I called it a tag, or post-chorus, kind of, a musical post-chorus.
It's the first time in the song we get that boom, 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 boom. We get the real hook. That is the hook of the song, and that's what I take away from the Golden Girls. What I remember is that at the end of that, it's that and "Thank you for being a friend." I don't really remember the rest of it. I'm a pal and a confidant, I say I don't remember it. I remember it, and you remember it, but just the casual person, you're going to remember the tagline, "Thank you for being a friend." You're going to remember that loud synth part. We get it here. It's going to be a recurring theme in the song. And in this 4-bar musical hook, Chris, that Motown groove continues. But the tambourine is dropped here. That was interesting to me. The tambo didn't continue through into this part, and I think it was to make room for the synth and that bass. That was the feature.
I am so excited to talk to you about what happens in this second verse, though, because there's an element that's introduced when the second verse comes that I seriously, when you watch the music video, they really highlight it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so. Are you talking about those sleigh bells?
Oh, yeah. I'm talking about the sleigh. Those sleigh bells, Chris, those almost are another element that makes me think of the tongue-in-cheek thing. Like, they know this is so over the top. The way he's in the music video, he's playing them and the camera's almost moving with them, and he's shaking them at the camera. I rarely think about using sleigh bells when it's not a Christmas song, so I love that they're used in a non-Christmas song.
You're right. You're right about that, and I think they fit the mood here perfectly. But yeah, I didn't even really realize what you're saying about the video even being tongue-in-cheek. I just kind of thought, okay, they're goofy. It's the 70s. They probably were smoking weed all morning. Who knows? But just figured that they're being goofy. But those sleigh bells are killer. They are here on verse 2. The kick drum, hi-hat, and sporadic bass guitar really pick the notes well here, as well as that chirpy guitar are here.
It's a car you lack, I'd surely buy you a Cadillac. Whatever you need, any time of the day or night. I'm not ashamed to say, I hope it always will stay this way. My hat is off, won't you stand up and take a bow?
If it's a car you lack, I'd surely buy you a Cadillac. Whatever you need, any time of the day or night. I'm not ashamed to say, I hope it always will stay this way. My hat is off, won't you stand up and take a bow? And Cadillac, that was a status symbol in the 70s, Chris.
I mean, it's another funny line.
Yeah.
Who's just going to buy somebody a Cadillac? And we get the repetition of the stand up and take a bow part. We have a repeat of the second half of the verse. So there is some sort of repetition here that can get stuck in your head and you could sing along.
That's correct. And on the line, any time of the day or night, the synth comes in here and it continues through the rest of verse 2. And on the second half here, the snare drum is also in as well. And we get our first harmony of the song on that last line. My hat is off, won't you stand up and take a bow? First harmony in the track. Before we get to pre-chorus 2. Same overall instrumentation here as pre-chorus 1, but we get different lyrics here.
And when we both get older, with walking canes and hair of gray, have no fear, even though it's hard to hear, I will stand here close and say thank you for being a friend.
Now, here we go.
Here we go.
Here come the Beach Boys pad vocals in the background that just take it to the next level.
Well, the lyric is, again, different lyrics here on pre-chorus 2. And when we both get older, with walking canes and hair of gray. Okay, I can see the tongue-in-cheek now. I really can.
Yeah.
And I just didn't pick up on that. Duh. Have no fear, even though it's hard to hear. I will stand real close and say it's hard to hear because they're old. Oh my gosh. How did this not hit me like a 10 tons of bricks? I love on the second line, Chris, hair of gray. We get the only falsetto there. He breaks into there for a second.
So good.
You wonder how that happened. Was that him just messing around, or, I just wish I was a fly on the wall. I love little things like, why just on that one spot? Why nowhere else?
I think he's vamping. He probably played around with that a lot. And I think in this song, it's like, what is every element of this song that can take it over the top? Mm-hmm. The sleigh bells, the Beach Boys backup vocals in the second pre-chorus. That thing's like a little bit of a vocal Olympic exercise or something, the way he goes to that falsetto there.
You want to talk about keeping things exciting, okay? On the line, have no fear. We get our second harmony of the song, and right after that is, even though it's hard to hear, behind that in the mix, we get those ooh backing vocals. That's the only time those ooh backing vocals are in the song. We get something kind of similar later with some ba-ba-bas that we'll get to, but that's the only time that happens. I love that in songs.
I do too.
I'm a sucker, though, for when I put something like that in a song that works so well, I got to find somewhere else to shove it in the song. I can't, it couldn't possibly be that only one time. Do you fight with that?
Oh, of course. If something sounds great, I want it to keep happening, but to have that restraint, I think, is another mark of a great songwriter. And when it happens, it's it's special, and then the next time you hear the song, you can't wait for that one moment again. It's just creating those moments, and you don't get sick of that moment. It might become just like background whatever that you don't even notice in the song if it doesn't just happen that one time.
You know, I'd like to do an episode sometime, maybe an after party, Chris, where we get into that of amazing songs that you love that have this one part and it doesn't happen. And I can't off the top of my head think, but I know that there are songs I've rewound. I remember as a kid rewinding the cassette tape over and over just to hear that part that only happened once. It's such a cool thing. On the last line, I will stand real close and say, thank you for being a friend. It's still in pre-chorus 2. Then we get the I Want to Thank You. The call and response backing vocals, several voices in unison, panned left and right. Chorus 2 is the same overall instrumentation as the previous chorus, but the synth is now here in chorus 2. The lyrics changed on the second half as well, and the backup call and response vocals, those were not in chorus 1, so we're building. We're changing it up here again. There wasn't too much more information here, but wow, did it change just from where the backing vocals were.
Chris, did you also notice that now this is like a double chorus? After the halfway point, those responses go from being doubled I want to thank yous to harmonized I want to thank yous.
Absolutely. And the back half is so cool because not only are those harmonized, but the words being a friend, being a is both times harmonies on just those little pieces. And then on the last line, being a friend, we get friend with the harmony as well. Those little flourishes, so cool.
It's such a complex part. In a way, you don't kind of notice it as a listener at first, but there's a lot going on with all the vocals in this song. There's real complexity to this, and I love it. Rhythmically, you know, the way that they're delivering some of those responses and stuff, that it changes, and I'm trying to keep track, but there's so many things going on. And well, I don't know. I think if you're in a bar with your friends and you're singing along, you gotta pick which part you're gonna sing.
Well, again, you know, let's go back to what we started talking about at the very top. Studio musicians. These guys are seasoned players. There's no Pro Tools here. There's no fixing stuff. So what went down here, they had to be confident. They had to be sure that this is where the harmony's going. We like this. We're not going to be able to come back in tomorrow and just move it around in the computer. We have to re-sing it if we want to put or take it or mute it out of that section. And just to have that confidence. And part of that confidence came from the players and the level and the caliber of those players that you were surrounded with.
I can put myself in this room with these world-class studio musicians, and I'm sure you've had this experience. I've had this experience with my bandmates where something musically, not a joke someone said, not someone said something funny, someone does something musically that makes you all laugh. Like that part is so funny, or that melody's so goofy that it's funny, and we're all playing it together, and now it gets funnier because this goofy part, it's good. It's so goofy that it's good. You know, I don't know if have you had that experience where you're laughing about a musical part? Yeah, no, of course. It's like how, again, this part is actually, I hate using the term, but it's kind of ridiculous. All they did was say, I want to thank you.
Right. Again, but and there's something uplifting here. I don't know. Again, these guys were so good. I could tell you they cut this song live. I can hear it. The overdubs, of course, were things like the sleigh bells, the backing vocals, but off the floor, the bass, drums, guitar, and piano, you could just tell it was cut live. And out of chorus 2, Chris, we go into probably the most 70s part of the song. This bridge.
I called it the departure of all departures.
Well, remember, 1970... 77?
Was it 77?
77, 70. I think I was around the time that Close Encounters of the Third Kind came out. So we were getting a lot of spacey type movies. And again, recreational drugs were at an all-time high in the late 70s. There's a lot of studio little delay trickery going on here. But I love this part, man. This part is so, it's atmospheric and dreamy.
Thank you for being
And when we die and float away into the night, the Milky Way, you'll hear me call as we ascend. I'll see you there. Then once again, thank you for being a.
I love that he took... Look, now you know. There's not a doubt in your mind that he's being funny. That he took this song about friendship to this place, to this trippy... The keyboards are going from side to side, and he's talking about ascending into space because of his friendship. It's insane, and it's so good.
Yeah, I'm leaning with you on this, but there's also a part of me that there was... 1978, we're only 20 years into the genesis of rock and roll. I mean, there was something still kind of innocent, good golly, Miss Molly, look, happiness and wholesome lyrics. And that's what I thought this was. And I'm kind of leaning to where you're at now with your opinion of it, Chris, being way more tongue in cheek. The bridge is 16 bars. I love this part, how it's produced. There's like this distant hi-hat now panned off right. I say distant. You can hear a lot of room at it. It's not present. A new video game synthesizer sound comes in, kind of left and right swirling, and 3 or 4 unison vocals here. There's no harmonies with crazy reverb and delay. Guitar is playing those chirpy bits again, mixed with arpeggio, picking, and we got big piano chords here hanging on every bar. And the second line, Chris, into the night, the Milky Way. There's a tom fill that happens there, pretty big tom fill. And the last line's interesting. It's weird, like the timing. I think they had to restart the metronome after this because it's kind of weird timing. I listened to it over and over. It's just Andrew saying, thank you for being and it's just by himself, super dry and on the last thing he says there, you hear a breath, a big prominent breath. It sounds really personal, that part.
Yeah. There's like a long silent pause before we get back to that, what I called the post-chorus, whatever you want to call it, the tag.
Yeah, well, and now it's at the start of the chorus. We get 4 bars of just the band. On bar 5, we get the ba 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 backing vocals. Yep. That's the only time that happens. And again, I've been in the studio where the producer's like, hey, can we try O's instead of woes? Can we try nas instead of bas? Sometimes the just the way that a certain syllable or word sings. Do you recall that happening with you? And I wonder here why they went to bas there.
I mean, yeah, of course it's happened with us. Where in my bands we've definitely done a lot of na-nas and ba-bas and la-las over the years. Always fun. We try to stay away from it now and put actual lyrics in there. We try to avoid it whenever possible, but sometimes it's just what sounds best. What I love about these ones and why I think they used ba, I love the way that the vocals, the bas, mimic that synth. That they mimic the melody of the synth. And I think ba, I think they did ba because if I was singing someone that part, if they went, what do you mean? What are you talking about with that Golden Girls song? I would go, ba, 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 ba. I think that's why they went with the ba sound, because that's what that synth sound sort of sounds like.
I'll buy it for $1, Chris. I think that's I think that is spot on. I never thought about that before in that context, but yeah, that would be the horn synth sound there.
Thank you for being a
Chorus 3 is unlike Chorus 1 or Chorus 2. We get 4 thank you for being a friend, followed by the I want to thank yous. There's harmonies all over this. We get the harmonies on being a twice in a row, and then the third time being a friend. Then we get some new lyrics on the second stanza. People, let me tell you about a friend. I want to thank you. Harmonized. Thank you for being a harmonized friend. I want to thank you. That's all harmonized. Thank you for being a friend. I want to thank you's harmonized. And the last line, thank you for being a friend. We get all of that. And then we get this little, it's in like another post-chorus, Chris. It's like another tag here. Whoa, tell you about a friend. Let me thank you right now for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend. I want to tell you about a pal, and I'll tell you again. Thank you for being a friend. I want to thank you. Thank you. We get a harmony on that line. And we get a harmony on the last line. Thank you for being a friend. A new synth comes in here. Pan just off to the left. And it's pretty loud on the tag here. I was talking about this new post-chorus. The synth gets really loud, panned off left. That synth, of course, being the Golden Girls hook. And at the end here, it's just 4 bars of the band rocking the progression with everybody ending abruptly. And I was really surprised going back and hearing this version. Again, that synth part is not how loud it was in the Golden Girls. I was surprised in this mix that they didn't hear that as a hook that needed to be bumped up.
Yeah, I mean, I think on the Golden Girls, they realized that that's such a perfect lead-in to now the show's starting.
Yeah.
You know, like it ends like that. And also, do you remember like the between scenes music of the Golden Girls? Do you remember like when they would lead
Oh yeah. Yeah. They'd have like a little segue.
Yeah, the segue music. It's almost like that end of the thank you for being a friend song. It kind of like leads perfectly into that music that I don't think Andrew Gold had anything to do with that music, obviously, but whoever created those sort of segue pieces that they use on Golden Girls, I think is referencing that part at the end. I think it's like a play off of that.
And we could get into a whole other episode. This could be an after party. You wonder if he just sold the rights to this for just an amount. Hey, there's this show coming. NBC's putting this show on, and they want to use this. Yeah, they're going to give you $25,000. They're going to give you $100,000, which is like, oh, wow, that's enticing. But next thing you know, the show runs for 15 years, is the biggest thing. Now it's in syndication. I hope he got a payday, and I hope his estate is still raking in that money because he deserves it.
The show is great, but the theme song is a big part of it. You just hearing that theme song to the show, it kind of makes you feel good. If you were, you're home on a Saturday night and you don't have anything going on, at least you can hang out with the girls. And that song comes on, it makes you feel like these are my friends. These are my 4 friends. Dorothy and Blanche and Sophia and Rose. I was going to have a good night with the girls. So yeah. And Chris, as far as this song goes, I said this at the beginning, it never stops building. Mm-hmm. There's just nonstop things changing. It remains exciting the whole time. And I think it's like a perfectly written song. I think we do a songwriting podcast, and you couldn't ask for a better illustration of a perfectly written song.
I love it, and I would like to find more Andrew Golds, more obscure songwriters that went on to have illustrious, beautiful careers as he did. And talking about beautiful people, Chris, everybody who is part of our supporting cast, you guys rock. Head over to ChrisDeMakes.com. You can get bonus episodes of The After Party. That's Chris and I. That's our other podcast where we talk about music and everything else under the sun. So head over to ChrisDeMakes.com and help support the podcast you know and hopefully love.
And Chris, also, I want to encourage people. This is my new thing. I want to encourage people. If you enjoy the show, go on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and leave us a 5-star review. On Apple Podcasts, you can actually do a written review. Chris, we got a new review I wanted to read to you.
Yes, let's hear it.
This one is from Tyson J. Tyson spelled Tycin. Never seen it spelled that way before. And gave us 5 stars and said, this show does not fail. And it says, I've appreciated this show to the fullest amount. I grew up listening to punk, ska, emo in SoCal in the late 90s, 2000s. As a teen, I wasted too much time hating on the music that wasn't in my rotation but secretly enjoyed. This podcast truly opens your mind and allows you to put down your guard to what makes a song so great. Even the artists that you would not give a chance, you find are actually good people, great artists, and enjoy the common thread of putting your blood, sweat, and tears to the love of music. 10 out of 10, recommend.
Wow. That was over the top.
That's a heck of a review. That's what we said, man. That's what we said about this show is like, look, we have a lot of punk, ska, emo artists and songwriters on here to talk about songs, but we've gone outside of that from day one, Chris. Didn't we say that from day one? We don't want to just do a punk podcast. We want to have songwriters of all different types. And I love to read a review like that, knowing that it resonated with someone.
Absolutely. What a wonderful review. Thank you so much. And like Chris said, head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review, hopefully a 5-star review. We'd appreciate it. And Chris, I want to thank you for being a friend. This was awesome.
Yeah, man. Thank you for being a friend.
And thanks to Mr. Andrew Gold for writing this beautiful song, and may he rest in peace. We'll see you next week. Hey there, Chris DeMakes podcast listeners. Ready to take your podcast experience to the next level? By signing up for the supporting cast at ChrisDeMakes.com, you not only ensure the continued production of our show, but also unlock exclusive perks. Subscribers receive a weekly bonus episode of our other podcast, The After Party, co-hosted by Chris Fafalios and myself. Many fans rave that The After Party is just as enjoyable as the main show. And with close to 200 music-centric episodes in the archive, there's a treasure trove of entertainment awaiting you. Thank you for tuning in and for your support in keeping the podcast going strong. Join us at ChrisDeMakes.com and let's keep the fun conversations going.
One Hit Thunder is a podcast where we both celebrate and have a good laugh about bands and artists that had just one hit that we all know. Each week, we're joined by a guest from the world of music or comedy to learn more than you ever thought you would about some songs that you can't forget. And we decide if they brought the one-hit thunder or were nothing more than a one-hit blunder. Look, if you listen to the show, you're probably going to laugh, and I guarantee you're going to crush next time the bar has music trivia. Tag Team, Jane Child, Meredith Brooks, Looking Glass, Sean Mullins, Eiffel 65, EMF, Crash Test Dummies, Crazy Town, Chumbawamba. We have hundreds of episodes in our back catalog and a new episode each week, so pass the Dutchie, make sure you're connected, and subscribe to One Hit Thunder wherever you get your pods.
Americans are durable. We take pride in hard work and high quality. American Giant makes durable, quality clothing right here in the USA, because what we wear reflects who we are. When you buy American Giant, you're not just wearing the best clothes money can buy. You're helping keep jobs and pride in your own backyard. Premium clothing built to last decades, like it should. Get 20% off your first order at american-giant.com with code RightHere24.
Hi, this is Chad Nicefield.
And this is Justin Press.
We're the host of Making Waves, the Shiprock podcast, a part of the Sound Talent Media Podcast Network. We're inviting you to sail away with us on an epic journey in musical enlightenment. Every week, we bring you only the best artists in rock music and discuss everything from the cruise, to the stage, to the saga of being a professional recording artist. We'll have lots of special guests along the way, so tune in every week.
Your stateroom is available every Monday morning, so welcome aboard.